Now, insurance premiums are set to rise, in some cases significantly, as a result of a new government ruling. A new formula for calculating payments for those who suffer long-term injuries has been produced as a result of low interest rates, and the average car insurance policy could rise by £75 a year. Our personal finance correspondent Simon Gompertz explains a little more.
Compensation is a lifeline for people like Tom, awarded £1.5 million after losing a leg in an accident at work. Tom thinks it's right that victims should get more to pay for recovery and ongoing costs.
I miss my leg great dearly, you know. This prosthetic's amazing, but it's nowhere near a human leg. Prosthetics aren't cheap. Well, these legs are top-of-the-range legs at £70,000 each.
Whether it's from an industrial accident or from a car accident, insurers have been able to keep down the lump sum they pay victims by saying, well, they can invest it and make an income from it. But now the government's saying in these days of very low interest rates, they'll have to assume that people will make less than nothing from year to year out of their compensation, and that means insurers having to pay out much more up front.
I say they can afford it. They've known this was coming down the track. They failed to put the money aside and anticipate that risk, and they are now suffering the consequences of that. Instead of putting the money to one side, they paid it out in dividends, profits and salaries.
Insurers gave an example of a 30-year-old who needed to be looked after permanently who'd get a £3.4 million payment now, a sum which would more than double under the new formula to £8.3 million. They warn to cover the cost, the typical comprehensive motor policy of £450 would rise by £75, with bigger increases for younger drivers. Liz Truss, the Lord Chancellor, said by law she had to make the change, but the Insurers Association said it was a reckless move.
This is a crazy decision by the Lord Chancellor Liz Truss, which is likely to lead to significantly increased premiums for motorists and businesses through no fault of their own because of her use of a broken formula which needs to be updated urgently.
The NHS is affected too. It'll have to pay £1 billion more each year in compensation for medical negligence, a bill the government has promised to cover. So, should drivers, hospitals and employers pay more so accident victims are looked after? Ministers have promised a consultation before Easter on whether the rules should be reformed. Simon Gompertz, BBC News.
Children living in deprived areas are